Well, hello YouTube, Steve Pat with General Pat Bushcraft back with you, friends. Super excited to bring you the show notes of season 13 of The Alone Show, episode 4, titled Cold Omen. Stay with me, this is a good recap.
Thank you so much for stopping by General Patton's Bushcraft and Self-Reliance on YouTube. I appreciate everything you do for the channel and all your support.
Alright friends, I'm working hard for you. I'm working late, it's dark, so hopefully the lighting is okay and the video will pick it up. But let's get right in to the show notes. We're talking about The Alone Show, season 13, episode 4. Friends, they are up in the Beaufort region. This is the second largest Arctic. It's actually a swamp, friends, that's going to freeze over. It's an Arctic delta. There's water everywhere with little bits of land here and there. And the title of episode 4 is called Cold Omen. And you know every show starts with the famous quote. This one is from Harold Wilson. Quote, "He who rejects change is the architect of decay," unquote. All right, friends, the show opens up on day 10, 9:52 in the morning, and the show goes over to Aaron. He's the 40-year-old from British Columbia, Canada. It's about 43 degrees. There's 8 people remaining. 2 people have tapped out, friends. And we see Aaron. He's thinking about cutting down this big tree. He's just about got his permanent shelter done. He wants to cut down this big tree, but it's leaning right towards his shelter. He's got to be careful. He doesn't know if this is a smart move or not, but he wants to play lumberjack, cut this tree down. It's going to be enough logs and wood to finish his shelter. So he makes a cut with this silky saw, friends, taps in a wedge, and he's successful. He cuts down this tree. It doesn't fall on his shelter. So good on Aaron. We learned that Aaron's had about 4 big northern pike, so plenty of food. He's out here playing lumberjack. He's working hard though, friends. He's burning a lot of calories. Shelter's looking great, however. It's a log cabin lean-to style permanent shelter, and he's burning about 700 calories per hour. And then we see him make a nice vise. It's a log clamp off that big tree that he cut down. he creates a vise out of some paracord, and he's able to cut more logs to finish that beautiful shelter. It's a good looking vise. It can tighten down on any size log with some paracord structure. It's a thing of beauty, friend. Okay, day 10, 3:51 p.m. and the show goes over to Nero. He's the 40-year-old from New South Wales, Australia, and he's sitting in camp eating rabbit. And we see him perform a boot repair. He's got some janky, thin-looking boots, so he has to do a repair on one of them. Had a blowout, so he's sitting there with his multi-tool, his Leatherman, I'm supposing it is, and he's stitching it up with some snare wire. So good on Nero. And we see him that glass jar that he found back on day 6. And participants are allowed to keep whatever they can find out there, friends. Also, participants are given, I believe, 2 trail cameras. And he sets up a trail cam on a high animal traffic area. And we see some trail cam footage of that rabbit went right through his snare wire, friends. We see that good footage off that trail cam. So he starts in on making a smoker. Nero does. It's a 4-pole teepee style. He's weaving saplings around the 4-pole teepee style structure. He wraps some saplings around, then he takes some horsetail and insulates it it's a pretty nice looking smoker, friends. All right, he finishes that smoker about 9:13 at night. He's got a headlamp on. It's dark out, but we get to see it anyway. It's lit up. He shows us that thing of beauty. Pretty nice. Also, the show cuts over to some trail cam footage of a snare that Nero set up on a beaver run. And we see some footage. Looks like that big old beaver gets trapped. Okay, day 11, 9:24 in the morning. It's still on Nero. He's still working on that boot, using that multi-tool, snare wire. Got some cold dampness in the air. Everything's wet. Everybody's wearing rain gear. He takes some sap from a conifer, renders it down, uses that glue to fix that boot. It's not pretty, but it's looking pretty good. Like it's going to do the trick, friends. So good on Nero. Good skills, friends. He gets up, goes down to check the trap lines, sees a lot of beaver tracks. Big beaver tracks, friends, in the mud. Again, cold dampness in the air. He's checking his snares on the way down, and a few of them are messed up. And looks like some rabbits have been going through, not getting snared, but kind of disrupting the snare. So he makes some adjustments. And friends, we learned that beavers are very, very strong. Friends, they're able to drag trees. They're up to 30 pounds heavier than what they are. All right, friends, it's day 11, 11:47 in the morning. The show goes over to the 41-year-old from Lisbon, Portugal, and that's Pedrosa, friends. It's 41 degrees. He wakes up in his good-looking shelter, grabs his bow, checks the snares. He finds a broken snare, friends, and we all assume that a fox came along. He probably caught a rabbit, but the fox got up a little bit earlier than he did, stole his rabbit, broke the snare line. So he does some repair on that, checks the rest of the snares, nothing. So Pedrosa has 2 rabbits back at camp from day 8 that he's sitting on. So he heads back to camp. On the way back to camp, friends, he hears a squirrel, takes out one of those camouflage arrows, takes a shot, misses. His hands are cold, friends. Don't know what's going on with the bow hunting. But we know he actually looks for that arrow, friends. He finds that camouflage arrow, and he only has 3 arrows left, friends. They'll come out with 9. He's already lost 6 of them. So on the way back to camp, here's a grouse, gets a shot off, and he nails that grouse. And he keeps his arrow. Good on Pedrosa. Okay, day 11, 1:12 p.m. The show goes over to Aaron. He's the 40-year-old from British Columbia, Canada. He's looking mighty strong too, friends. But I still got my money on Will. He starts on a fireplace, friends. He's got that nice, nifty vise that he made on that stump where he can fasten down logs with the paracord. It's pretty slick. And he's using some small logs, about 2-3 inches in diameter. And he's making some squares out of these logs, and he's fastening them together with snare wire, and he's stacking these square logs on top of each other. He's going to make a nice fireplace for his shelter, friends. He's going to make it out of wood framing, and he's going to take it down to the river, and he's going to pack it full of mud and fire it into clay. Good on Aaron. So he works on that fireplace frame for a while, friends. Heads down to the river. Remember, he's got those 6 poles doing passive fishing for him down on the river or delta, water. I don't know what it is. There's water everywhere, friends. Could be a river, could be a lake, could be a pond. It's just a delta, second largest delta in the world, friends. But Aaron catches a nice 31-inch pike. We see him clean that fish down on the water bank, friends. He takes the heart out, and he shows us that heart is boom, boom, boom. That heart's still pumping fresh, and he shows us all that Nice northern pike heart, friends. Okay, day 11, 4:06 p.m. The show goes over to Andrew, the 51-year-old from Wales, United Kingdom, friends. He's working on his permanent shelter. And Matt, wow, day 11, he's only had 2 squirrels. He's mighty hungry. He knows he's got to start concentrating on food, friends. But he works on that shelter. It's pretty nice. It's between 2 trees. He's going to just make a lean-to. He's got a ridge pole at the top, 2 logs. He's making the whole thing out of logs. He's got a nice raised log bed. So he's going to make a nice log lean-to permanent shelter, friends. He grabs his GoPro and he attaches it to the front of his bow, and he heads off to go hunting, friends. He's mighty hungry. He runs into some lingon berries, a big old patch of berries, so he sits down and he eats on some of those lingon berries, and you know they're high in vitamin C, A, and B, and loads of antioxidants. He can't live on those lingon berries, friends. He's got to get some food, but good on Aaron for now. Also, friends, we learned that Aaron, hunting's not his strong suit. Bow and arrow's not his strong suit, friends. Back in Wales, UK, it's illegal to hunt by bow, so he doesn't have any experience on bow hunting, friend. All right, day 12, 8:04, and the show goes over to that young buck, 24-year-old from Hokitika, New Zealand. That's Poldy. He's the youngest out of the remaining 8. And he shows us that rabbit bone stew that he's eating on. He's got a lot of food, friends. So his strategy is to eat 3 meals a day, trying to keep his energy up, push on physically. He's cutting big trees, building a huge teepee, friends. He's all in. He's got all his eggs in one basket on this teepee shelter, friends, cutting down lots of pine boughs, but he's got to carry it across this open valley to where his permanent shelter is. Looks like about the length of 2 football fields. He's got to drag all the supplies for this big teepee, friends. We see him take a break, and he's drinking some of that fish head soup out of a blue cup. That blue cup is what his snare wire came in, so good on him for utilizing that blue cup. And that fish head soup, it's got about 7 grams of protein, 1.5 to 2.5 grams of fat. He's got a lot of food, friends. He needs a break. He wants to clear his head a little bit. So just for some fun, he goes down to the water, throws out some rabbit guts on a hook. First cast, catches a northern pike. And this thing falls off the hook in the shallows, friends. He has to reach down and grab it by hand and throw it up on shore by hand. So good on Poldy for thinking fast on his feet. Day 12, 9:03 in the morning, show goes over to Nero. He finishes the door on the smoker, friends. He makes that door and insulate it with those horsetail reeds. It's pretty nice looking, this teepee style shelter, friends, and he names this thing Grug, G-R-U-G, Grug, and that's named after a cartoon character off of a cartoon back in Australia. He names that smoker Grug. It's about 39 degrees. Nero made a gill net on day 9, so he heads out to go check on the gill net. And friends, on the way down there, we already saw the trail cam footage of that beaver getting snared, but he finds it live right here. And this thing is massive. It's about a 45-pound beaver, friends. It's so heavy, he can't even pick it up to show the camera, friends. This thing's so heavy. But anyway, it's got about 15 to 25% body fat on it, so it's going to be good on Nero. That's a good amount of fat, friends. About 900 calories per pound. So he gets back to camp, friends, and he strings up that beaver between 2 trees with some snare wire, friends, and he starts gutting it, taking the pelt off. Beautiful. The tail's huge. The tail's bigger than his head, friends, on this massive adult 45-pound beaver. And him making the smoker first paid off. So good on Nero. Day 12, 11:13 in the morning. Show goes over to the youngin', Poldy, the 24-year-old from Hokitika, New Zealand, and he's working on that teepee, friends. He's spending all his energy, but he's got a lot of food. So hey, can't fault him. This is his strategy. His strategy is eat 3 meals a day, keep pushing, but he's all in, friends. This thing is massive. He's cutting down massive trees. He's collecting all kind of pine boughs. But again, he's got to drag everything across those 2 football fields, friends. So we see those berry paste logs. He's got a tripod inside the teepee where he's smoking all kinds of meat. He's able to smoke that berry paste on those berry logs. Pretty nice smoker that he has going on in there. So good on Poldy. All right, day 12, 5:43 p.m. Show goes back over to Andrew. Andrew sets more snares in this new area, new territory, where he found all kind of animal sign trails, game trails, animal signs. So he sets up snares, and it pays off for him, friends. He snares a rabbit, friends. He goes up to get the rabbit. The rabbit's still alive, and somehow it gets loose. He turns the camera off. He tells us he saved us the gory details. We don't know how he recaught that rabbit, but when he turns the camera back on, he's got that rabbit hung up in the tree. He twisted its neck, snapped its neck, but he didn't show us the gory details. So good on Andrew. So we see that Andrew, he's got that cook camp set up down by the water's edge. He's got this little half-dome semi-shelter, friends, where he can sit down there and cook and eat. Anyways, he puts a tripod up, strings up that rabbit, and we see on the way back down to that camp cook area that he has on the water, we see he finds some big bear prints, fresh bear prints in the mud, friends. A little while later, what do we see? We see that trail cam footage of that black bear coming into that cook camp on the water's edge, and he snatches that rabbit off of that tripod. I guess he was saving that rabbit for the next day. He thought he had it hung up high enough. That black bear ran off with that rabbit, friends. Oh my goodness. All right, it's day 13. The show's winding down, friends. We see Aaron, Poldy, everybody, Andrew. They're all showing us video of the mountains around them. All the mountains around them are starting to fill up with snow, friends. Coldness is in the air. The wind is getting cold now at night. And weather's moving in, friends. All the 8 participants, their focus now is to finish those shelters, get those fireplaces done. Everybody knows the cold weather is here, friends. And we see Aaron go down on the water's edge and work on that fireplace, friends. He packs the wood frame with mud, builds a little fire inside of it, and he starts firing that mud into clay. And his plan is this fireplace chimney is about 4 to 5 feet tall. His plan is to disassemble it, carry it back to camp, put it in the shelter, reassemble it, and then he can patch it up with a little bit of mud and refire it up there. And the show goes over to Poldy, the youngin', the 24-year-old from Hokitika, New Zealand, friends. He's not doing good. He's not doing good. He has no energy, friends. It's day 14. Little after noon, he's crying on camera, friends. He's confused. He's afraid. He's got no energy. He doesn't know if his energy's coming back. He doesn't know when it's coming back, how much it's going to come back, if it's ever going to come back. But he says he doesn't have any fun left. He's not having fun. Day 14, friends. Poldy, the 24-year-old, he's the youngest out of the remaining 8. He taps out. He's gone, friends. Okay, friends, the show ends right there with Boldy tapping out. There's only 7 participants left, friends. Getting interesting. Still plenty of food going around, and the snow's coming in. We're going to be getting into hunting season. The moose and the caribou, they're going to start going into rut, and so it should get exciting. But I appreciate you stopping by the channel. Before you leave, please hit that subscribe button, friends. A lot of you out there, you watch, but you don't subscribe. Today's the day. Hit that subscribe button. In the drop-down menu, do select all, friends. That way you can get all my recaps. I'm going to be recapping every single show of Alone, God willing, of Alone Season 13, Episode 5 coming up next. So hit that subscribe button, drop-down menu, do select all. That way you get notified, friends. I appreciate everything you do for the channel. All your likes, all your views, all your shares, most importantly, all your comments. Leave me a comment and let me know who you think is going to win this thing. My money's still on Will. All right, friends. Please, please don't depart from the faith. And if you haven't already, give your life to Christ. Do it today. Don't wait. And, as always, God is good. God is great. I see y'all on the next video. Already got a date.